I can see people starting to come on now. Well, good afternoon, everybody. My name is Deborah Young and I am the CEO of the RegTech Association. I would like to start this afternoon by acknowledging the traditional owners of the land on which we are meeting today and pay my respects to elders past, present and emerging, and offer a very warm welcome to all of our Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander friends that are with us today. A very warm welcome to you, to members and our special guests, and to our sponsors. I'd like to acknowledge Austrade, who are our series sponsor, and also a thank you to EY, who are convening for us today. And of course, a fantastic welcome to all of our great RegTech firms, First AML, Frankie One, Ingenuous, Jade Third Eye, Know Your Customer, KYCP and Lab Group. We have around 26 countries online this afternoon. They're looking at how they can provide a solution, onboard a solution, or oversee the rigour. But actually, it's really to understand the impact that RegTech can have. And out of the 285 registrants that we registered for today, we have around 90 buyers on the line. I'd like to do a special call out to our friends from the insurance industry. This is a first to see so many of you online, and also to our law firm friends and investors. We thank you as well for your interest. RegTech has a big, bright future, and according to our recent conference, I'm seeing lots of interest from PE and VC firms. So there's definitely a newfound vigour around RegTech investment at the moment. The glow from our recent conference isn't over yet, and if you want to access the sessions where we talked about investment and all things RegTech, we've just made them available via our YouTube channel, and one of the team members can pop that link up into the chat if you would like to go and have a look at that. But you are here today for AML, CTF and Sanctions. Thank you so much for supporting us, and we hope that you'll get lots out of what the community can offer you today. What you can see here on the screen is our member community, and I wanted to specially acknowledge them. These organisations support the RegTech Association in being able to bring programs like this one today to you without any barrier. The presenters today, without exception, are part of this very much valued cohort, and if you'd like a copy of this map, please put your email in the chat and we'd be delighted to talk you through it and contact you. At the recent conference, somebody said something which I thought was very profound, and I thought I would read it out to you now. RegTech sits at the intersection of all the forces shaping our world, helping us to understand, navigate, and to meet the challenges ahead. And I think that was very, very well said. What I'd like to add to that is that the RegTech Association are really, really committed to getting vital tools into the hands of compliance people and regulatory teams to help them surface risks earlier, to build stronger, safer and more sustainable businesses. So that is what I would add to that statement. AML, CTF and Sanctions solutions are often synonymous with RegTech, and rightly so, and these solutions are in the top 3 of all RegTech solutions most commonly sought out by regulated entities according to our research. I might move on with a little bit of housekeeping before I introduce our first speaker. So if we can just keep to the protocol of cameras and mics off, thank you. Even if you're presenting, we will invite you to switch on and come back and join us. We will do all questions of all of the presenters in the Q&A function, and we are inviting the presenters and their teams that are also online to jump online and answer any questions that you have. Please ask lots of questions. This is how we'll make it interactive. We are recording today, and you will receive an email of this recording. So any of your colleagues who perhaps weren't able to make it, tell them not to worry. As long as they are registered, they will receive a recording of the session. And from time to time during the session, we will also be polling, and we'd appreciate any of your thoughts and your feedback on those polls throughout. the session. And there is the first one coming up now. So we couldn't do this without having a convener, and so I am very delighted to introduce Nick Davison from EY. He's a partner with EY's Oceania Financial Services practice, and he's based in Sydney. He works with clients on complex financial crime compliance and transformation challenges. His experience includes setting up and leading both onshore and offshore teams focused on financial crime consulting and operations. And most of all, he's passionate about how the fight against financial crime can benefit society, reduce the devastating impacts of financial crime on businesses and on communities around the world. Nick's going to give us a brief overview before we get underway, and his greatest job today is to loom large when each of our presenters gets to the 4.5 minute mark, because he needs to keep all of the presenters on time. And we want to ensure that both the first presenter and the last presenter get equal time. So my only call out before I hand over to Nick is please do ask lots of questions. And as I said, the presenters and their teams will be online to answer those for you. So without further ado, I'm going to now hand over to Nick. Thank you very much, Nick.
Great, thanks, Deborah, and fantastic to be here with you and everybody else this afternoon. For those, Deborah did a great introduction, but for everyone I don't know on the call, my name's Nick Davison, and delighted to meet you this afternoon. I think it's a fantastic opportunity to moderate this event. I think we've got an amazing selection of RegTech taking part. Many of which are existing friends and partners of EY. So we are kind of actively involved in this community on a day-to-day basis. As Deborah mentioned, I have a passion for fighting financial crime, and I'm really passionate about the role that technology can play and how it can be leveraged to try to remove or reduce the burden that financial crime places on society. Working with the RegTech providers that we have online today, they all kind of come to the table with the same sort of ambitions. I'm really excited to hear not only what they have to offer, but for me personally, it's how their solutions are evolving and how quickly they're kind of adding new capabilities and really developing what they have to offer the market. At EY, we spend a tremendous amount of space, a tremendous amount of time in this space, supporting RegTechs and their development, but also helping financial institutions who are often our clients to navigate the landscape and identify solutions that work best for them, meeting their needs and requirements in the AML space. I think you'll see today, and I'm sure from your personal experience, there's an overwhelming amount of choice and Deborah's slide earlier showed a huge number of players in this sector. So the huge amount of choice. It's a very complicated area and a very rapid pace of change. So that obviously creates challenges for people to get on top of. And at EY, we think we have a role to play, sort of sitting in the middle sometimes between RegTech and our clients and financial institutions, helping make sense of it all and helping people navigate what's out there. So without too much time, I just wanted to give you a few kind of brief lessons from some of our experience in the sector before we hand over to the panelists. Just maybe to keep in mind as we go through today. First one, and I think it's important to say this, and I think it's probably obvious to most people on the call, but there's no silver bullet that immediately addresses all AML and CFT requirements and compliance needs, and there's also no one size fits all. So nobody has kind of fixed AML, and we all would love to see that happen, I think, and I'd love to have shares in whatever company manages to push that forward. But I think we are kind of in an environment where people are offering part of the solution or specialized areas that will increase compliance and be part of the solution. But I think there isn't a silver bullet out there that will fit everybody and address all AML requirements. We know that it's a complicated landscape, and as I touched on earlier, that it's fast changing, and I think there's a need to help people navigate it, and financial institutions making choices about RegTech need a lot of support. I think there's no shame to admitting that it takes a tremendous amount of time to stay on top of everything that's going on in the sector. I think an important thing that that we kind of stress with our clients is you don't want to miss what is possible. It's sort of, you know, having a view of RegTech or what technology could do and what that was 2 or 3 years ago doesn't reflect where we are today, and really kind of being aware of the art of the possible and what is available now and how that could help you, I think is important. So staying at the cutting edge of technology is crucial to get that art of the possible view. Often our clients are looking, and I think it sort of shows that the landscape is enormous. There's lots of RegTechs out there with lots of different solutions, and I think that that drives some interesting behavior with financial institutions as people look for point solutions and things where they want to take best in class from different providers to build a bespoke architecture that addresses their financial crime needs and suits their business. And again, I think there's a need to sort of navigate the RegTech environment and all RegTech providers and pick out what works best for different clients and then work together to stitch that together to best fit individual companies' requirements. And then finally, I think with any technology discussion, the choice of tech is extremely important. I mean, you know, and you'll see today what some of the panelists have to offer and how impressive that is. So I think it is extremely important, but equally as important and crucial not to forget is the thoughtful implementation of that technology is more important than ever, and fully considering regulatory challenges, operational challenges, some of the potential unintended consequences from tech change. That is kind of where we see the difference between a successful implementation and people being able to leverage all the features of a RegTech solution and really make the best of it and feel that they have got good value for money from their spend. I think those are the areas that we see people kind of sometimes forget, but when they focus on those important elements of an implementation, and that's sort of before implementation when making choices and planning it out, it's that during the implementation and then post implementation looking at how effective the solution has been. I think that is where we see a huge amount of value being driven from the solution. So the solutions in themselves are powerful and impressive, but please, financial institutions, my call out is please don't forget the importance of really considering how to implement and being thoughtful about how you do that. So without further ado, and as Deborah says, we are on a fairly tight timeline. And if I apologize in advance if I have to butt in and sort of try to keep everybody moving along, we're very keen to make sure everybody gets an equal share of the limelight today. So without further ado, I'm going to hand over to Andrew at First AML, and he'll take us through the first presentation.
Awesome, thanks for that, Nick, and thanks to Deb and the whole of RegTech for today, but also everything you do in this space. I think it's incredible. My name's Andrew Jackson. I'm the Australian country manager here at First AML, and First AML, we specialise in the full KYC and KYB process when onboarding clients. So next slide, please, Hong. Very quick background. Started about 4 years ago by the 3 founders on the screen. They worked in corporate commercial banking. They experienced the pain of KYC, that it wasn't delivering a great customer experience, and they thought there was a better way to do this. And a few of the numbers to show where we're going in growth. I think the last time I did one of these, we had about 75 employees. We're now at 150. We were only in New Zealand and Australia. We just opened up in the UK beginning of this month. We've already got 20 people over there. And the latest funding round came just before Christmas, which was great. It was led by one of our long-term clients, Blackbird Ventures. Next slide, please, Hong. Some of the incredible brands we work with. here in the UK and New Zealand, and these are spread across all 4 of the major regulated verticals. Within Australia, we have a variety of non-bank lenders, trustee services, investment management firms, fund admins, and the like. Next slide, please. So look, we all know some of the challenges that are facing the industry in the compliance RegTech space, but we boil this down into 3 key challenges. So this is wasted time, a poor customer experience, and then fragmented systems and processes. And the way we help is by taking the KYC off our clients' hands. So this is through a blend of tech, but also our specialist services. And that's with our AML analysts who are dealing with all of the complexity, which is shown on this, this screen here. So this empowers firms to, you don't necessarily need to add additional bums on seats. You can put your customers first. You can help reduce dropout rates. You can focus on the business growth. And this slide here is a simple yet complex way of showing the process. So the simple piece is our clients simply submit a request, that goes into the platform, and our tech and our analysts do all of that KYC, that due diligence that is required to understand who you are working with or who you may want to work with. That could get down to the trust partnerships, overseas, underlying beneficial ownership structures. It doesn't matter how deep it goes. We will do all of that work. You get updates in real time, and then we present a case back to you and say, are you happy with the due diligence? Do you want enhanced DD? Do you want to work with them? Or have we flagged something that means you're not comfortable onboarding them as a client? Next step, please. Next slide, please, Hong. I think we all know some of the challenges, but there's often internal AML costs that either get ignored or just aren't sitting front and center, but we can't ignore them if we want to really nail the compliance piece in the business. So pulling out a few here, negative experience, and that can come from these dropouts or a very slow back and forth paper-based process. The lost opportunities that brings. And there's a huge amount of time spent across so many different remits in the business, whether it's frontline staff, managers having to sign something off, the compliance team back and forth. So these are things that cannot be overlooked when you're deciding how you want to handle your customer onboarding. Next slide, please, Hong. And this is really the icing on the cake. It's our secret sauce. So once we've done the verification on an individual or a bunch of entities, we securely store that information in our platform. And if another client comes to us and asks to verify somebody who we have already done that for, we can, given the proper consent and rerunning PEP and sanctions checks, making sure everything's up to date, provide that information to them so they don't have to wait and the client they want to onboard doesn't have to go through a full verification process again. So we are doing what could be a multi-day, multi-week process can be reduced down to maybe 15 or 20 minutes for the most complex cases because we've already done them. So this is providing superior customer experience and again, allowing our clients to focus on what really matters in their business, not the admin heavy KYC and KYB. Final slide, please, Hong. It's just really wrapping up. Didn't want to take up too much time. And I would encourage that if there's any questions, please throw them in the chat. I'll be happy to answer them. Thank you.
Great. Thanks, Andrew. That was fantastic. So, Tony from Frankie One, your 5 minutes of fame start now.
Thanks, Nick, and thanks so much. Hopefully everyone can hear me. Thanks so much, Deborah, for the opportunity again today. What an act to follow. Andrew and team, congratulations on your recent raise and a really great pitch. To set the scene, Frankie One are a single connection to the global identity and fraud ecosystem. Hong, if you could move to the next slide, please. There's literally today, there's hundreds of great solutions, point solutions in the ecosystem in, thank you very much, Deborah, in fraud and identity, ranging from KYC, IDV, AML and fraud tools. But if you're an organisation and you want to take advantage of all of those new point solutions, you have to integrate with all of them individually, and that costs both time and money, and we're finding integrations for some customers take up to 6 months. You then start the messy business of having to ensure all of those integrations talk to each other. You do that through a customer flow. And when you create that customer flow, if you want to make changes, it can be prohibitively expensive to do so. It leaves you with a fragmented view of your customer, and the complexity means that it's very difficult to change decisions. You've got a reasonably rigid customer onboarding experience. Next slide, please, Hong. So there's a better way. How Frankie One solves this problem is that we've gone to the effort, I've moved too soon, but that's all right. We've gone to the effort of integrating to over 350 data sources across 48 countries. So all you need to do is integrate once with Frankie One, and you have access to the best of breed solutions in identity and fraud globally. And then you've got flexibility in customer flows. So you can adapt quickly to regulatory changes, and importantly, you have a single view of your customer across all of those intelligence solutions. So Frankie One does 3 things. We act as an integration hub where you access best of breed solutions. We're eternally integrating new innovation in the identity and fraud space. At the heart of the solution, you'll see here is a decision engine. It's an orchestration layer that allows you to customize your workflows. You can start to really personalize your onboarding experience for your customers based on their risk profile. We call it risk-based onboarding. And finally, number 3, we provide you a 360-degree view of your customer from an identity and fraud perspective, from when they onboard and their ongoing behaviour while they're a customer of yours. So Hong, next slide, please. Look, today we've got a great book of customers that we're really excited to be working with. They work across a range of segments. 130 companies worldwide. We've got the top end of town, so the tier 1 banks really love us, like Westpac, because we can really simplify some of the complexity in their organisation around customer onboarding. We work with fast-moving digital propositions, often disrupting lending or in the Web3 space, like Afterpay or Zipmex, great customer there. For them, a really a seamless customer onboarding and digital customer onboarding is really important because they're a digital first company. So we help them with that, and we're a bit of a no-brainer for startups because you get access to everything from day one, and so you can scale internationally really easily as you need to. So yeah, we're ISO 27001 certified. We've been recognised as an Australian company that punches above its weight globally, and so if you're interested in a better way, come and talk to us today. We're Frankie One. We've got 1 integration, 1 orchestration layer, and 1 view of your customer. Thanks so much, team.
Thanks, Tony. Another one, fantastic timekeeping. Well done. Thank you. So we have Ingenious coming up. Just there we are. So we have Clint. Clint's going to take us through his presentation. Just quickly, I can see no questions coming up on the chat, but please do feel free to put questions in there, and as we go, people will try their best to get to answer them. All right, sorry, Clint, off you go.
No worries. Thank you very much. Hi everyone, my name is Clint Mills, and here at Ingenious, we aim to help our clients address the challenges in the areas of sanctions, AML, CTF, and fraud prevention. Next slide, please. Our mission at Ingenious is to help our clients overcome the hurdles and provide access to the latest and most advanced technology in financial crime prevention, regardless of their size and regardless of their digital era. Next, please. Next slide, please. Thank you. Intuition delivers end-to-end customer onboarding and financial crime prevention, complemented by partner solutions that deliver value adds in the areas of identity and biometric verification, global watch list screening, and cybersecurity. From digital onboarding and credit decisioning through to KYC and application fraud prevention, Intuition helps to ensure you're onboarding the right customers in real time. Once those customers start transacting, Intuition for Monitoring provides a single and 360-degree customer view, giving our clients the best possible chance of detecting and preventing financial crimes. Next slide, please. My topic today will focus on the ability of our solution to meet the challenges of increasing detection rates and reducing false positive rates. Next slide, please. The key thing about increasing detection rates is to do things in real time. Importantly, Intuition enables the ingestion of data from multiple sources into a single platform, which facilitates more comprehensive strategies being able to be defined and making investigations more efficient. The inclusion of digital intelligence is also imperative, so that the monitoring of digital and non-digital strategies can be consolidated at a customer level. Next slide, please. Our solution, Intuition, comes with a built-in machine learning platform, which enables predictive models to be placed into the financial crime prevention workflow, whose scores can be used in isolation or in combination with a rule. The platform fully supports the data engineering and data analysis stage, the modelling training stage, and the retraining stages as well. Supervised models continuously take into consideration the financial crime reviewer's manual decisions, so that the predictive capability can be continuously improved. Unsupervised models look for hidden patterns in the data, which are indicative of anomalous behaviour, so that it can be alerted for further investigation. The insights from the model are also shared with the user, so that the investigator knows where to focus their attention. Next slide, please. We also strongly recommend using predictive machine learning scores to apply more tailored fraud prevention strategies and rule sets. By applying less strict strategies, applications and transactions that are statistically likely to be genuine, false positive alerts, and even more importantly, customer friction can be significantly reduced. We work with our clients to configure the strategies so that they don't continue alerting proven genuine behaviour. It's also never a case of just setting and forgetting. With the dynamic nature of financial crimes, strategies need to be reviewed regularly, including the retraining of machine learning models. Part of Ingenuous's service offering is a quarterly health check, strategy optimisation, and new requirements review, so that the financial crime prevention program is kept up to date with the latest trends in the global financial industry. Next slide, please. Ingenuos is based in Melbourne, which is the heart of our R&D, data analytics, and software development, and we have employees in 10 countries globally. We regularly participate in industry events such as the AUSTRAC RegTech engagement program, so that we can deliver value add through pre-configured capability in our solution that enables our clients to comply with their regulatory and reporting obligations. Through our cloud-hosted services, we've been able to help our clients significantly reduce the cost of preventing financial crimes. Our managed services have successfully saved hardware, environment, and other IT costs, in addition to the burden of requiring the client's own IT resource to maintain and monitor the environment on a 24/7 basis. And our clients include banks, non-bank lenders, money exchange companies, superannuation funds, and insurers. Last slide, please. Thank you very much to RegTech for giving me the opportunity to introduce Ingenuos to those who don't know us yet. Please feel free to visit our website, ingenuos.com.au, for any further information. Alternatively, please get in touch with any of our representatives that are shown on the screen to discuss your financial crime prevention requirements. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Clint. That was great. And I think you're the first RegTech that I've seen have, I don't know whether there's an office there, but the coverage of Cambodia. So that's definitely a first for me. So congratulations on that. So we have Jen from Jade Third Eye now. Jen, are you there?
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah, actually, if you wanted to go to the next one. So I am Jennifer Hale. I'm the Senior Product Manager and the business lead for Jade Third Eye. So I'm actually calling in from Christchurch, New Zealand tonight, where we're headquartered. And we're actually celebrating our 10th year this year of providing AML solutions. In addition to New Zealand and the UK, we also have Australian support, and we have a local office in Sydney. Could you go to the next one? So what we do essentially is we serve a number of customers across multiple sectors, various sizes, banks, credit unions, funds and investments, down to gaming and even crypto recently. And what we provide is a software as a service product, and that's really looking at automating your AML CTF program across the areas of detection, investigation, and reporting to make sure that you identify suspicious activity and individuals faster and more reliably. So on the detection side of things, we do have our rules-based monitoring of transactions, accounts, and customer behavior. So that covers transaction monitoring, and for customer screening, we've partnered with Dow Jones and Refinitiv watch lists for onboarding and ongoing monitoring. Under investigations, this relates really to case management. So you can easily see a customer's history of behavior, what alerts they've been generating, and determining what's normal versus suspicious activity. And under reporting, we do offer integrated AUSTRAC reporting of FDs, TTRs, and we're just about to announce SMR capability as well in the next couple of weeks. Of course, every activity and change made in the system is fully captured, so you're prepared for audits, but you also have that in terms of traceability. And alongside of reports, we do provide a lot of dashboards, which makes it just much easier to see at a glance, you know, are my reports being submitted on time? How is the compliance team working? How is the overall system performing? Could you go to the next one? So those are the services that we offer, but I think what really sets our solution apart is really, you know, the power, the flexibility, the cost structure, and as well the localized functions and support that we provide. So having that single solution that covers all of those areas from detection through to reporting not just gives you that more streamlined and efficient experience, but gives you that more in-depth view of the customer and their activity. Every single one of our implementations is fully customized and unique to the entity's risk profile. So even though over time we've built up this extensive rule library, that's really just the starting point or the guide for best practice for us. We know that new risks are always arising, regulations are changing, your business itself is changing. So Jade Third Eye really hands a lot of the control over to you. So you can control the rules, you can modify them, create new ones, and we have that test environment as well, so you can make sure before you're putting them live that they are behaving the way that you expect. And the flexibility of the system as well. So it's not just detecting for AML compliance. We have customers that are actually using it to detect external and internal fraud as well with the same solution. And we're providing all of these services without any hidden costs. So unlimited local support is included to answer the questions, make changes, but we also include a dedicated annual review, and we really dive in depth to look at the rules, how is the whole system functioning, what can we optimize in order to make you more efficient. Could you pop to the next one? So this is where we're at right now, but I thought it would be interesting just to share some insights as well on how we're looking forward and where we're going towards. The approach we really take with customers in the AML industry in general is one of partnership. So we're looking at things like how are regulatory expectations increasing. We've got parliamentary review of AUSTRAC happening right now. We have certain sectors such as gaming that are under increased scrutiny. What does that end up meaning in terms of demands on entities? What types of risks are emerging, and as well, what kinds of technology are coming up that we can actually wrap into our solution? So the areas that we're really looking on focusing going forward is efficiency. So making sure we automate and optimize so that you actually have this time to spend on the right types of things. We want to make sure you have increased visibility of your overall compliance program, but making sure you can provide that assurance all the way up to board level. Making sure you have the tools to not just meet but exceed compliance regulations and be ahead of new challenges. And just my last one, I know I'm over time. So compliance is really technically about reporting activity, but that at that point, you know, the damage has been done. So we're really moving towards and focusing on preventing the financial crime in the first place.
Thanks, Jen. And I think it was almost exactly on time. So well done. Everyone is doing a fantastic job of keeping this moving along. So now we have Know Your Customer. I think Jamie, are you going to take us through your presentation?
Sure. Thanks, Nick. Hi, everyone. My name is Jamie Anderson. I am the Global Head of Sales at Know Your Customer. Next slide, please. Let me share a few words about our company, Know Your Customer. We're a global RegTech company established in Hong Kong in 2015. We have additional offices in Singapore, Dublin, London, Shanghai, as well as a distributed workforce across 17 countries around the world. We work with a range of regulated organizations across 11 sectors and 18 jurisdictions. Next slide, please. So very quickly, what is the problem we're trying to solve? Today, more and more businesses in financial services, but also corporate services, professional services, the legal sector, and insurance are struggling with the rising AML regulations and changing customer demands for fully digital experiences. To meet their requirements, both small and large businesses are still relying heavily on manual processes to verify their business clients under AML regulations. But this approach is way too slow, too risky, and unscalable. Worse, current tech-based solutions fall short. Simple entity databases might look like a cheaper option, but they do not satisfy regulators as they do not provide the correct level of documentary evidence. Next slide, please. Our technology centralizes on 5 key pillars of corporate onboarding. Firstly, we retrieve documents from company registries in real time. Second, our AI-based system extracts company data from the documents automatically. Third, our platform streamlines processes through configurable workflows. Fourth, we then perform AML monitoring and automated KYC refreshes on all the entities and the individuals within the system. And finally, the system has an inbuilt reports as well as immutable audit trails to be compliant at all times. Next slide, please. On the front end, we provide a seamless onboarding experience by integrating with companies' websites and making the registry connections available through APIs. Prospects can see and select their company name from the list retrieved in real time from the registry and kickstart their KYB journey without the need for manual intervention. Next slide, please. In the back end, our system creates cases that collect all of the information that is necessary for the KYB and AML investigation. Information on the company and its shareholders is extracted from the official documents and displayed within the system. AML matches sourced from leading watch lists are flagged automatically. Company documents downloaded in real time are available from within the system, and complex multi-layer UBO structures are displayed in intuitive charts. Next slide, please. So to summarize, how does our approach to KYC compliance, how is it better? It's obviously much faster. We can reduce the industry standard of 26 days for onboarding a corporate client down to just 1. It provides a much better customer experience, and all that while strengthening regulatory compliance through inbuilt automated workflows and intelligent use of automation. Next slide, please. Finally, just a few of the organizations we work with that we're at liberty to disclose and some of our recent accolades. Final slide, please. And that's it. Thank you all for your attention today. I look forward to answering any questions. Please make sure to connect with me. My details are on the screen. Thanks again.
Thanks, Jamie. Again, that was fantastic, and we are doing a really good job of keeping to time. So now we have lab group. I think the slide's coming up, and Nate, if you can take us through your presentation, please.
Thank you very much, Nick, and thanks again for the RegTech Association for organising such a wonderful event. So my name is Nate Johnston. I'm the head of sales for Lab Group, and Lab Group is an end-to-end digital onboarding white-labelled SaaS RegTech provider founded here in Australia. We were founded in 2010, and we've since grown to have about 40 staff. We doubled in staff over the last year and a half. We've seen an abundant growth also in transactional volume over the last couple of years as well. Next slide, please. So who we do and what are we processing? We have processed over 2 million applications through our product, and we average about 25,000 applications every month. We deal across a broad array of organisations, working with about 130 organisations across about 15 different financial services sectors. And the focus really is on that end-to-end onboarding, both from a KYC, KYB, and KYT perspective. A key focus behind the scenes as well is also our industry-wide integrations and strategic partnerships, where we have a key kind of focus in industry of remaining agnostic with connecting people, both with the data in the front end and automated tasks in between. Next slide, please. So here is a subset of clients that we work with across the space, where we like to really focus on the different financial sectors that we have involvement in. So you can kind of see here, we've got stockbroking clients, managed funds clients, banking. We're also making quite a key play into the digital asset space. And then you can see across the board as well, we've got exposure into many other different verticals across the space. And where we've really started, next slide, please. Where we've really kind of started as a business, where the focus was on digitizing the onboarding process, we've now seen that the industry as a whole, in terms of providing solutions, are looking for automated data flow through to different providers as they look for distribution of their products and ease of use for both the investors and the clients that we work with. So this slide here, Lab Elevate, effectively talks to the fact that we're constantly staying at the forefront of regulations and compliance changes, which, as you're all aware, are happening very rapidly across the space. And as a SaaS company, we have a rapidly scalable product where we have default end-to-end data collection platforms and templates we can roll out for different sectors in the space. Next slide, please. So at the core of our product, we have the front-end solution, which is LabForms. So this is effectively a white-labeled solution that we can customize with all the branding for our clients. It supports all entity types. And I guess to probably call out here, a key highlight of what we do is that not only is it focused on the individuals, we focus on very complicated entities like your companies, trusts, super funds, and all the like as well. We have automated workflows, so it's all dynamic based on the investor type you select, customized branding, as I mentioned, and we have multiple products and channels that we can facilitate as part of the process as well. Now, the electronic ID space, we have various parties that we integrate with to provide real-time and instant verification for all these kind of account types that you see on screen. We're also working with some pretty exciting RegTechs in the space to provide biometric solutions, as well as a lab ID solution. So there's probably been a lot of you familiar with the talk of AML reuse and data reuse within the space now. That's quite a hot topic. So we're certainly wanting to stay at the forefront of that. And so we're basically enabling customers to reuse their IDs so that they can effectively streamline their onboarding process even further as they look to invest across other products in the industry. Next slide, please. Lab Group's application manager. So this kind of talks to the end-to-end back-end workflow that we roll out for our clients as well. So not only is the investor interface with a streamlined and efficient process important, so is the back-end process where our clients, fund managers, stockbrokers, and also administrators need a clear, efficient, easy-to-use process to manage everything. So we provide this as a standard product, and we can also utilize this to great effect to initiate things like rescanning of IDs, redoing PEP and sanctions list kind of applications, and also initiating downstream API integrations as well, which I'll cover in the next slide, please. Excellent. So our connectivity, this is becoming quite a key component of how we are looking to effectively help the industry connect to each other. So what this slide is effectively meant to represent is the fact that we have an integration with Xplan as an upstream connection, and Xplan can effectively, through our Initiate API, connect into a client who can then effectively initiate an application and move through to both downstream providers such as Macquarie and FinClear. Oh, am I at time, am I? Next slide, just quickly. This is just a slide detailing that we have international exposure and we have remediation processes in place there as well. There's always got to be one, right, Nick?
No, you did a good job there. It wasn't you were right on time in the end.
Yes.
Great, thank you very much. And I guess call out to the audience, just any questions, please do feel free to put them in the chat. I think we've got the last presentation coming up with KYC portal, but any questions people have, please put them in the chat, and we'll try and address them while we're still online. Okay, thanks, Christoph. Would you like to go on now, kick off?
Yep. Hi everyone, my name is Christoph, founder and CEO at KYC Portal. KYC Portal is a real-time risk-driven client lifecycle management platform that focuses on addressing two of the biggest challenges all institutions face, the cost and risk. Risk when it comes to regulatory risk, reputation, brand reputation, fines, sanctions, and obviously the cost that we all incur to maintain and manage such risk. Next slide, please. So different companies vary in nature on how they handle such processes. Some smaller companies use Excel, PDF, forms. Large organizations have core systems, core banking systems, CRMs, ERPs, all of the data that they collate from their customers, be it corporates or individuals, via various means. There are some who do it over the phone call, over forms, over email, over apps, all of which the data is then used to handle and manage the ongoing side, the perpetual KYC, what we call it, the ongoing side of KYC. KYC Portal addresses the full spectrum. KYC Portal is a lifecycle management platform, an end-to-end solution that covers from the very first day all throughout the ongoing relationship we have with subjects. Next slide, please. In fact, one most important element about KYC Portal, it's an on-premise solution that does not usually replace internal systems, but rather hooks up with internal systems to centralize and streamline the entire process in order to achieve two things: reduce the cost of due diligence, reduce the back office cost of due diligence, and also reducing the risk exposure that we have within our organizations. Next slide, please. One of the most important elements is data centralization. So the system centralizes all the elements from internal systems, from third parties, as we're going to see shortly, into one central console when it comes to related parties, entities, the data we collect, documents, checklists, sanity checks. The system collates in one central area to be able to improve and streamline the entire process. Next slide, please. The system hooks up. Next slide one, thank you. The system, all clients hook up our system with third parties, as we've seen in this presentation, for example, the automation of PEP, sanctions, and risk media. The advantage of integrating that is the ability to decide the level of automation following matches, following alerts happening within such third-party systems. The system also hooks up with company house data registers of the client's choice, and this is purely to be able to search and scrape data and analyze data on building my corporate portfolio, the related parties, getting updates and alerts when there is new information on the public domain with regards to the corporations that I have, not only to check, but also to make sure that I'm getting the correct data, even with the ability to search across multiple company house data providers. Next slide, please. The system then uses all this data, so data coming from third parties, data coming from internal systems, data that is input by customers themselves, to be able to calculate and address real-time risk. Risk that is across elements. It allows clients to be able to create categories of risk. What risk is in my perception and my domain. This then is used to be able to automate the life cycle based on the preference of the client, on what should happen both in KYC portal as well as triggers to my internal core systems for what should happen in real time. Next slide, please. The most important element in our tool is also the customer outreach tool. So an embedded customer outreach engine, next slide please, that allows me to liaise with customers and give them access, both individuals and corporates, to handle the ongoing experience. So not only onboarding, but even remediation and ongoing aspects of reviews. A tool that is also linked to the real-time risk factor, the ability to change the ongoing experience as the client is filling the form based on the real-time risk. Next slide, please. One of the most important USPs in our tool, however, is the dynamic lifecycle configuration. Whatever you saw here, next slide, please, is governed and managed by the compliance team and the operations team of the client themselves. So they get to tweak, create, manage the entire lifecycle, the entire platform, not only at company level, but even granular to product, channel, or service. Move on to the last slide, please. Nowadays, in fact, our customer base spans across 18 countries, across 4 continents. And however, the most important element is, since the system is so dynamic, we manage to achieve and to penetrate different industries, such as banking, legal, financial services, even non-regulated markets, such as logistics and transport, for those clients who want or who have a very thorough process on onboarding supplier relationships. Thank you very much for your time. Please feel free to get in touch if you have any queries.
Thanks, Christoph. Again, perfect timing. And I think I was just seeing if Deborah is going to come back online to do a wrap up.
Yes, I'm here, but I was just wondering whether there were any parting remarks from you, Nick, based on what you've just observed, and then I will certainly give some remarks before I wrap up. And what I will actually encourage everybody to do is, if you wanted to stay online until 1/4 the hour, I'm really happy that everybody can turn their cameras and mics on and come on and say hi. But before we get to that, Nick, I just wondered whether there was any reflections from you on what we just heard.
Yeah, thanks, Deborah. I mean, I thought it was a fantastic whistle-stop tour of FinCrime RegTech. So many interesting solutions, and it's fantastic to see so many good credentials being, that these companies have now. And so you're seeing the levels of adoption in, tier 1 banks and lots of other institutions as well. So I think that's really fantastic. I think the audience, I'm sure everybody who is presenting here would love to hear from the audience directly, and I think kind of I would encourage them to reach out to the companies directly, or to feel free to come via EY, and we can help facilitate that as well. So yeah, I thought it was a fantastic whistle stop tour. I'm still very surprised by the lack of questions, and as you say,
yes,
I keep
Everyone
encouraging
people was in their armchair mode, sitting back, just listening and learning. One of the things that I'm often asked, oh, really, are people going to stay on time? I said, don't you worry about a thing. It's like a finely oiled machine. So I really do appreciate that everybody was under time pressure. And I also wanted to thank you, Nick, very much for stepping in at quite late notice to help us out today. Really appreciate that. I think what was clear to me from the presentations today, and hopefully we've been able to help you, the audience, navigate the RegTech landscape. And I think, Nick did say at the beginning, the sheer diversity and the choice of what is available. The association has that right here. So to echo Nick's comments, if you want to get in touch with anybody, please do get in touch through us. The other thing I would say is the important thing about these events is that they actually help connect you with your industry peers. And whilst we've yet to fully pivot back to a face-to-face format, we're looking forward to actually being able to bring you some face-to-face events shortly. What you can see in front of you here is a slide with some of our upcoming events. Some of these are virtual, but we will. We promise that we will have some face-to-face things to offer you very soon, and you'll receive an invitation in your inbox around that. I thought Nick's points around thoughtful implementation are very, very key. Because, you know, in some ways this can't be rushed, and making the right choices for your organisation is really, really important. So I thought that was a very good thing, because it's one of the things that I talk about all the time as being really aligned across your organisation. You know, you need alignment across risk, legal, procurement, IT security, you know, and so many other areas across large and complex organisations in order to deploy these institutions. So the more integrated that you can be in your approach when you go to approach RegTech, the better off we will be. Now, I think we've got a poll up there that I'd love for you to put in what you thought about today, that we can be on our constant cycle of improvement. So thank you very much for that. Is that the last slide? Yes, it is. But what I will